Welcome back to Success and Equity on BCTV. We've talked to some incredible people today. Jared Meathead Man, my former partner in crime on Crab Radio, he found out before his 40th birthday that his radio career was over. And he spent some time trying to figure it out, and eventually he realized the answers were up at 1801 Panorama, up on the hill, our very own Bakersfield College, and now he's getting ready to transfer to Cal State Bakersfield. Then we talked to Joe Bergman, a guy who has a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degrees, but health and a chronic health issue took his vocation from him, and he found himself back at BC just to enrich his life because he was running out the clock, watching Netflix and staying up until the wee hours in the morning and not waking up till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But he found a different type of satisfaction at BC. Right now, we're going to speak to Gabe from Kern Federal. And Gabe, you're a guy who used junior college to get ahead, but education in general has been a ticket to you working the career of your dreams, right?
Absolutely.
And tell me a little bit about that. Where did you go to high school?
Went to East High, so graduated class of 05. Go Blades.
Nice, yes. And then you spent some time at BC.
Spent some time at BC, went to Cal State, left Cal State, went to Humboldt State for a year.
Wait, what?
I just got an itch. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of Bakersfield for a little bit. I got to get out. So I went to Humboldt State.
And you spent a lot of time on the plaza? Where'd you live?
I actually lived on campus, so I did video journalism for a year. Had a blast. It was a great time.
Yeah, Humboldt County, by the way. I was born and raised in Eureka, California.
Oh, so very nice. So you know all about Humboldt.
I do. We call it Humboldt County, and then the college is Humboldt State. But that's me being a townie. Humboldt County is a very interesting place for you to choose to go.
Honestly, it was really random. I said, where's the farthest I can go without leaving the state?
That is exactly how I ended up in Bakersfield, actually. That's funny. I know the feeling. Humboldt County is a very different place. It's a slow pace up there, isn't it?
It took me a while to adjust. I was used to, hustle and bustle of Bakersfield and how things are quick there, and everyone drives so slow.
They drive, yes, they do. And you know what's crazy? The last time I was home, I realized that I'm not from there anymore at all. We went to Starbucks, and this gal was like, first of all, it took like 15 minutes to get our drink. And then she gets it. She's like, oh, hey, how are you? Did you have the breve? Like, yeah, thank you. Oh, that's cute. Where'd you get that thing for your hair? And my wife had a hair tie, and they start chatting. And I'm like, this would never happen in Bakersfield. Like, there would be a line of people behind us giving us the stink eye, and there's just no sense of urgency. Like, no one's in a hurry there.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons and not so obvious reasons.
Right.
But you ended up, though, totally changing gears and going to Manhattan for an internship, right?
Yes, and it was great. My bachelor's is actually in sociology, so completely opposite from marketing.
Interesting.
And I just happened to stumble upon an internship. So I worked in the Valley Plaza during college at the Coach store. So I was selling purses, and senior year of college, it was like, hey, there's a great opportunity for a summer internship. You should apply. I'm like, well, Bakersfield kid, whatever. Grew up in the East Side. I'm not going to go to Manhattan, but why not? I'll try
Because Manhattan's a long way from Mount Vernon.
Yes. Or Oswell or Niles.
Yeah, absolutely.
So went on ahead and applied for it and got a call back, said, hey, we'd like you to come out here and interview for this internship. I'm like, no way. So I flew out there for a weekend, and it was the craziest interview I've ever been in. They had 120 other associates and students from across the country. They pack us all in this little tiny room. The CEO gets up there and says, all right, you guys, thank you very much for coming out here. Coach is so awesome, and goes, a little bit about the history of it. Says, well, you guys have 3 hours. Good luck. Go. And us and the interns look at each other. There's like 22 tables set up.
Go where?
And we just have to rush to all these tables and basically give a 5-minute sales pitch on why they need to pick us for the summer intern.
Oh, my gosh. And you went into this, you had no idea that's what this was going to be.
I had no idea. I'm like, I'm going to sit down and talk with somebody. No.
So this is Coach, the high-end accessory and purse retailer, handbags, pocketbooks, what have you.
And then go in there and go through this interview and talk to like 5 different departments. And
wow.
By then, I'm just sitting here. I've got all my resumes in my hand. I'm talking to all these important people. I'm like, this is insane. Then I come back home, and I'm like, well, I think I did okay. It was crazy. It was grueling, but...
So when they had all the tables set up, did you have to work with other people to figure out how to sell yourself, or was it all every man and woman.
It
for
was
himself.
every man and woman for themselves. Like you'd sit
Oh
next to
my
the person
God.
next to you, and you just realize that they've now become the enemy.
Oh,
So the person
no.
you've been talking to for 30 minutes, like really building this relationship with, is going after the same internship you are. So
Oh my
you just look at
God.
everybody, and everybody's the enemy now.
So 120 people in the room. How many internships do you know?
They picked like 20, 25.
Wow, so those are tough odds.
Yes.
Gosh, yeah. So the person next to you, the other person next to you, the person in front of you, and the person behind you all aren't getting it
Right.
at that point. Okay, so you pitched yourself and you came back to Bakersfield,
Yep.
and then you waited for the phone call.
Waited for the phone call. A month later, I got this phone call, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about coming out this summer. The marketing department was most impressed by you, and you actually were the first choice for a marketing intern. So how would you like to spend a summer in Manhattan?" I'm like,
What?
yes.
But let's be really clear here, though. I mean, like I would be instantly excited, but then I would be concerned. Like if I got an internship in San Francisco, like Manhattan is probably one of the most expensive places in the United States to live.
Yes.
So there was that. Did you start thinking of the practical after you said yes?
Honestly, no. I just said,
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, all right.
It's really kind of how I live my life. It's like, I'll just figure it out. It's a great opportunity. Let's just go for it. And we'll...
And if you're solutions oriented, that's great. Some people are not so plastic in their thinking, but I found that that's a good strategy to have. What was your solution to that?
Well, my mom was born in New York, so I've got a lot of family out there. So basically, it was picking up the phone and making a few phone calls and seeing whose couch I can crash on.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, the couch that I crashed on was in Pennsylvania.
Oh! Wait a minute. That's not like, don't people commute from Connecticut? Like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
about 2.5 hours each way. Yeah, it was tough.
How did you do that?
I took a bus.
Wow.
And it was kind of great because at the time my sister was pregnant and
Okay.
she had horrible insomnia. So I would talk to her. Well, 1 o'clock in the morning in California. It's 3, 4 o'clock over there.
Oh.
So she kind of kept me up as I was on the bus and talking. But when I wasn't talking to her, I was sleeping.
Oh, I bet you were. So what were your job duties at Coach?
I was the customer engagement intern. So basically, my job was to push a bunch of papers.
Okay.
My job was actually to work on a customer engagement program for the brand. So basically, it was how do we get people back to the brand? How do we get people who've recently shopped develop a good relationship with the brand? How do we get people who haven't shopped for 3 years to fall back in love with it? And honestly, it was just incentivizing them. So we took 11 Chicago stores and said, okay, well, let's do different tiered rates. We'll do 100 off, 300, 25% off, 30% off, and we'll tier these to 90-day shoppers, 120-day shoppers, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years.
Wow.
And just did a whole bunch of stats, a whole bunch of analytics, a whole bunch of data, collected all these numbers, a lot of handwritten reports, and it was a great success. So they said, well, this is great. We're getting people who haven't bought with us in 5 years to come back and spend thousands of dollars. This is wonderful. Let's launch this nationwide.
Oh, wow.
So when I came back to the Coach store, came back from my internship and back to Bakersfield, I went back to the Coach store to work, and I'm working with them, and they're doing their advanced thank you note programs and their advanced gift card programs. Like, oh yeah, I helped develop that.
Oh, snap. Just a kid from East High.
Yeah, just a kid from the East Side, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I did that.
Oh, that's amazing, Gabe. That's really incredible. And you wouldn't have been in a position to do that had it not been for your education, though. Let's be real clear about that.
Absolutely. I mean, growing up as a kid, I was like, oh, well, I don't know if I can go to college. I mean, it just wasn't something that maybe I'll do a trade, maybe I'll be a welder like my dad was.
So your folks didn't go to college?
A little bit of college. My mom
Okay.
went to Cal State for a little bit. Neither of them graduated. So
Okay.
And it was interesting just to see as I started to get into high school, started to get involved more. I was like, oh yeah, college is something that I could probably do. And then getting into college and just really opening up my mind. It was really great to just see all the stuff that you really didn't know was out there. And just by
Sure.
taking the classes and especially studying sociology, it was just seeing things from a completely different light than you would have just kind of the average Joe. So education is really just kind of like just open up my mind and just to a world of possibilities.
No, and you brought those skills back to Bakersfield, which I admire you for, because you're here reinvesting in your own community, and I'm sure that you had some opportunities to stick around on the East Coast. But you're you're using those skills to do some pretty cool stuff at Kern Federal, correct?
Absolutely.
And you guys have some financial literacy programs that you're helping folks with. I know you have the free the no ATM fees. I've seen that commercial.
Yeah, our super awesome Kasasa checking accounts.
Yes, way to plug it.
There's a plug.
Yeah, and I know that we are running out of time right now, but just real quickly, tell me about the financial literacy programs, because we have students at BC who get financial aid checks, and sometimes they're overwhelmed because maybe that's the most money they've seen in one place.
Right. Financial literacy is something that really affects us at every single age across the board, whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult with a family. I mean, people just don't understand. They understand the basic concepts of, okay, well, I pay this bill, or I get a credit card, but don't spend too much on it. But they don't understand truly budgeting, or what they do as a kid when their credit card affects their credit score. What if they want to buy a house? It's really just educating people from the ground up and trying to get into them as a child. So whether in elementary, they're in junior high, they're in high school, they're getting ready to go on to these great and wonderful things, just teaching them all about budgeting, what they can do to be smarter buyers and smarter consumers. Because if people spend their money better and spend their money in the right ways, it only makes things better for everybody as far as the economy goes.
No, you're absolutely correct. I kind of feel like I want to sign up for that class now. How do we get that education from you?
It's free. Basically, anybody who wants education, we've worked with CAPCABE, we've worked with Mission at Kern County. I'm part of a nonprofit board, Youth Financial Literacy, where we go through different high schools and help teach them basic budgeting and spending. We basically, anybody who wants to learn any financial education, let us know. We're more than happy to go out there and donate as much time as they need to just educate really the entire community. We want everybody to be smart buyers and make smart financial decisions.
God, it'd be awesome if Bakersfield made a list for smartest consumers. I mean, we get on a lot of lists, but it'd be awesome to get on that one.
Yes, that would be great. Instead of, oh, nobody can read in Bakersfield. Oh, that's great. We're #1 for bad air quality. Fantastic. How about #1 for financially savvy individuals or making good money choices?
I think that's it. I know you work for Miranda Whitworth over there at Kern Federal, so if you have questions, call Kern Fed, ask for Miranda, ask for Gabe, and you can book them to come out and tell you how to make your dollar go further.
Absolutely.
So, Gabe, thanks so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate
Thank you.
it. We've had an awesome slate of guests today. If you have any more interest, you can go to YouTube and look for Equity TV at Bakersfield College. Whatever your dream is, whatever's holding you back, put it behind you at Bakersfield College. We'll see you next week.